Welcome, everybody. This is Harden Up Podcast number 11. I'm Tom O'Mahony.
And I'm Owen Colgan. How are you getting on, Tom? I can't believe it's 11 already, but it's been pretty much since the beginning of lockdown.
I think we've been in the ear holes bi-weekly, I think, of people throughout the lockdown. Even when the lockdown was coming down the tracks, we were talking about it, sweating away in a car. But we'll get that back to them days again. We'll sweat away in a car park someplace.
Maybe do a couple of live gigs. It seems like the places that are opening up their doors again, and the live gigs are coming back. So that'll be nice.
It will. Well, I mean, that's, you're after inadvertently opening a wound that was recently closed on me. I never told you about this. We were talking briefly off air. I had a gig. Did I tell you about the gig I had?
No.
I had a gig. I had a fucking gig, man. I sold out. I was going to be on a stage. Well, no, it was myself, Carl Spain, Joe Rooney, and was it Farmer Michael? I think Farmer Michael did booked as well. It was down in Limerick, the racecourse, the car park at the racecourse, about 20 acres. People were going to be in their cars, listening to it on the radio, watching you through the windscreen.
Class.
And
Driving jobby.
And they had cinema all day long. The cinema was flying it. And about maybe 18 hours before the gig, it got pulled. It got pulled. Yeah. Sickener, because a fella complained. A fella complained who was a rival events company up in Dublin.
Okay.
Because a gig for some reason got pulled on him, and he thought it was our crowd did it, and he wrote an email. And the guards were like, "You're fucking bollocks, you," because they wanted it to go ahead, like, you know what I mean? And the next thing they went, because it's a formal complaint, we have to send it up to Dublin. And whoever answered the phone in Dublin went, fucking cancel it, and just down with the phone. And that was.
And what was the reason for cancelling it?
There's the way the legislation was written was something to do with live entertainment, regardless of indoor or outdoor, cannot officially be held. And it was a grey area because they were like, well, with the cinema on, and he's just going to be on a stage in front of the cinema screen. So the comedian was going to be 8 or 9 meters from the first car. Do you know, There was nothing even in the legislation as to why. You know what I mean? Like, if I had fucking Ebola, I couldn't give it to somebody from 9 meters away in a car. Do you know what I mean? Like,
just some lad got browned off and he didn't want you doing the gig. That was pretty much the top and bottom of it.
That bastard. That's exactly it. He admitted it, and then he apologized. He goes, I was mistaken identity, and I was a bit fucking ratty and stuff. You're like, fuck off.
Bastard.
Oh.
How does it work, Tom, then, for like when people are laughing and they're having the crack and they're enjoying a joke? How do they let you know that? Do they beep the car or what?
This is going to be the beautiful mystery of it. That's nearly half the upsetness of it. That yes, I was getting to do a gig, but I was very interested to see what it was like to be talking to him on Mayo. Like,
oh my God, yeah, that's a weird setup. But you know what? I heard about that thing before, where people drive into the to gigs and like people sit in their cars, they tune in the radio and they sit in the cars. It's kind of a nice way to do things too. If you're if the front seat of the car has your best mate. There's a lad in the back there and you're sharing a couple of cans and, well, maybe not the driver, like, but the other boys are sharing cans in. The driver's only drinking cans of Coke, but you know what I mean though? Like, it's a nice little hub for people to hang out and have a few smokes and relax.
Well, here's the thing. It had been sold out. So, needless to say, people wanted to fucking go to this thing. The guards were looking forward to it. They're like, great, haven't seen anything in fucking months.
Does that mean now that someone who wanted to see you at that gig couldn't go if they didn't have a car?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah.
Now the big market there.
Oh no! All my Limerick fans have cars. It's a necessity down there. You have to have a car. Yeah, I suppose you could rent maybe one from, I don't know. It'd get pricey then, wouldn't it? Between the tickets and all the rest, rent a car.
Yeah, it would. Do you know? I heard Hertz the other day are selling a load of their cars.
Are they flogging them off? Are they?
They're flogging them off because the cars from the airports, they couldn't really get them sold or rented during the summertime.
Oh, so time to move on.
Time to move on, by.
Jesus, would you? I mean, the only thing is, if it was a car that was sitting idle, fair enough. But you don't know what fucking you could be buying a pig in a bag there, because 20 French couples could have had that, and they tore the fucking clutch out of the fucking thing.
Yeah. You wouldn't know what kind of damage they left in it.
Full well, Hertz are not going to be giving you no guarantee on that fucking thing. Like,
no. Not a chance. But they could. I don't know what's happening, but I think in Knock Airport, I heard that they're selling off a good fleet of cars because they've been closed there for the last few months. So that's, it seems like it's, it seems like they're going to have to sell like probably the whole lot, it seems.
Jesus. Like, I suppose you kind of like the idea because they go, well, they kept clean all their time and all the rest of it. But you and I have both rented cars in the past. And it's like the old phrase, what's the fastest thing on the road? A fucking rental car, because you don't give a bollocks. You'll drive.
Yeah.
You'll drive the stones out of that fucking thing.
Back roads and not even indicating and clutching at every corner and revving it up the hill. And you're like, yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? You are. But then if it's your own car, that's why I don't think I'll ever purchase a very nice car, because I'd be too insecure about burning out the clutch or whatever. So it's nice to have an old car where you can kind of, like you can, roughly put it into gear or whatever. It's a bit more rough and tumble job.
Stop, sure. I see lads there, like there's lads down the road in the petrol station, and they'd be washing. And you're kind of going, you can go no place. This is during the lockdown. You can go, I know you're bored shitless and you're just taking the car down for a wash, like, but you see lads getting out, they're folding in their mirrors and they're minding it every which way. I mean, the nightmare you'd have pulling into the car park at a fucking supermarket. Oh my Jesus Christ!
Yeah. And the money that they put into those cars is just, I could understand it, because everyone has their habit, everyone has their sort of hobbies, but some of those cars like that are just down to the floor, and you can't even you see them going over a tiny little curb, and you're like, fuck, the whole bottom part of that car is going to come off. So it's I don't know how they do that, use those cars day to day.
The whole basis of the purpose of buy racing and doing buy racer cars, it's surely to attract women, but you never ever see any women with these lads. I can only imagine that's what it's for. I mean, ours is it just to impress other lads, because you just see 4 lads going around smoking fags with their hoods up.
Oh yeah, doing laps of the town.
Doing laps of the town, but.
Yeah, there's one lad in our town, and it's, I don't know if it's dumb valves or what the hell he's got in the fucking exhaust, but it goes.
Yeah.
It's like a haunted fucking ghost or something that's in the exhaust.
I often thought of it as a cat sneezing.
Just yeah, it's a bit like that, all right, yeah. Like a cat's caught in the exhaust or something.
Like, who's traipsing around the mean streets of Swinford, like up and down just cruising, one hand up on the steering wheel.
But see, the thing is, Tom, if you have a car in Swinford, certainly back when I was in school, if you had a car, that means you had a ticket to freedom. Because otherwise you were just in Swinford, you might get to go to Kilchama or Foxford for a weekend. But, if you had a car, you could go as far as Galway. that was the dream back in the day. I remember going to Galway as a child, and I still think it was like, fucking hell, I was like, this place is huge.
Dublin must have blown your brains altogether the first time you went to it, did you?
Well, I see, I had travelled a small bit since I got to Dublin. So then when I got to Dublin, I was more like, I could kind of gauge it on the sort of the Richter scale of city size. But Galway was just, because, like Dublin as well, and you've got the internet and smartphones. So you're kind of like, you're more aware of the whole world. Whether it's back in the Galway days, I was so green. There was no like smartphones. So I was like, this city is massive. You'd be like really like innocent, I suppose.
Yeah, I do remember going to, I was utterly awestruck one time. I think I might have told you about this. It was the old lad used to run the marathons in Dublin, and we got taken to Abracadabra. I'd never seen an Abracadabra before, and I thought, this is the fucking bee's knees, because the old lad would be off running for 3 or 4 fucking hours. Like, you couldn't wait for everybody. Like, but we went off to Abracadabra, and I remember seeing it was one of the stages, Angus McAnally. Do you remember Angus McAnally? Yeah. Lyric Sport, that's what he was on, yeah.
Yes.
And he had a giant head, I remember, and he was drinking a cup of milk. I remember this.
Oh, Christ.
I don't know why the milk sticks out in my mind, but he was drinking milk. And I remember, and I went to say hello to him, and he just kind of fucking shrugged me off. Fuck off.
Now, was this prime Lyric Sport, or was this pre-Lyric Sport?
This would have been, I knew him, and I was only about 5 or 6 years of age, so, or maybe 7, who knows. But he was hot shit at the time. Like, he was up there with Jerry Ryan, and Blackboard Jungle and all the rest with what's his name?
With the big dicks.
Oh, the big dicks, yeah.
Ray Darcy and the boys. Was Ray Darcy Blackboard Jungle? He was.
He was, I think, yeah. He was, yeah. He's a long time at it.
He fucking is too.
I saw Dave Fanning the other day. He's howling well. He looks old, but he's howling well.
Yeah. Dave Fanning has been on the go for a long time too, ever since he used to get the old exclusive interview with U2 and Bono and the boys. But
crafty whore.
Yeah, I didn't know what I'd make of him, but myself and Martin met him once and he seemed like a nice fella. Like he's enthusiastic. He's very, very polished. Like he knows how to package the old deal.
I suppose too, I was thinking, looking at him going, geez, you're howling together well, and then I was thinking, sure, that good old life, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Christ, sitting there in an office in RTE, just getting guests in and asking them questions. I suppose most of the time he probably interviews people he loves, like bands, because you can see he loves bands, but there's been a few times where we've been in there and whoever's radio station we've been on, they've rushed us through it. Like, it's kind of like, how are you lads? How are you getting on? How's it going? Come on in. Yeah. Then you go in, you do your interview. It's like, they're full of talk about the Hardy books. And then as soon as we're off air, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's almost like, right, get out, lads.
I found a trick to that, right? I know they may be tight with time, right? All the same. But I found a great trick with that. And it's, whenever you're going into any radio station always bring sweets. Always bring sweets.
Tell me more.
This is something my wife bet into me. I'm an ignorant fucking Egypt turning up to places. And she said, would you not bring a box of biscuits or some fucking thing with you? And I went, Aaron, would they want them? She goes, it's not that. It's that no other fucker did it. Yeah. Now, I'm telling you this live on our podcast, but sure, look at...
You're giving the game away.
I'm giving the game away. But I've moved on. I bring drugs now. It's great. But that's the truth of it. I'm telling you now, you bring any kind of a thing. They love...
Talk to me, what kind of biscuits would you recommend to be bringing into the boys?
You need to think multi-folk coming in throughout the day. So don't be bringing in no fucking wagon wheels because there's only 4 or 5 minute pack. Yes,
Let me just write this down. No to the wagon wheel.
Look, we all love a wagon wheel, Owen, and we will do we'll do a podcast on our favorite biscuits. It's an institution. But the wagon wheel are a waste of time. Even the fucking Viscounts, because you're only up to 6 or 7 biscuits at that stage. You need to think numbers. And it's not so much the quality of biscuit or the quality. Fingers. Bring them fingers. There's about 20, there's about 2 dozen of them inside the yoke. And there'll be a munch and then some other DJ will pass through. Like Nicky Byrne was coming through one day. And he's like, oh, lovely. Who brought the fingers? You never bring nothing in around this place. And I was only coming out of the studio and they just, Tom brought the fingers. Tom's always brings the good stuff when he turns up.
Yeah.
And I says, how are you, Nicky? And he says, thanks for, and he was immediately, and then he happened to be sitting on my jacket. Now, Nicky, like, goodbye, come off my fucking coat before I clatter you. And you could see him, he was like, what? Yeah. And I just, everybody started roaring laughing. And he was like, I'm Nicky Byrne. And I have never been spoken to like that before in my life. Like, right. But it was a beautiful moment. Like, when he's munching away on the old biscuit, still half frightened that he's going to get a slap into the head off a fucking culture. But I find fingers. There's also another one. They kind of taste like after eights. I forget the name of them, but they're sticks. They're little tin sticks, and they taste like
tin sticks.
Yeah, they're like. Are they Twilights? No. Jesus, I'll get the name of them now for you.
Before sixes, no.
No. These are, and again, there's about 2 dozen inside the box, and it's all about the numbers game. Each person will go, and who brought them in around the place? Yeah. And it'll be, fucking Tom owned it over there. Look at, always bringing sweets of some sort.
What if you went in with a tin of USA biscuits? Because you have the double tray, you've got a nice selection of 12 different biscuits, all ranging from soft digestive to hardcore cookie and everything in between. And you're appealing to everyone with that.
I think you're overthinking it, right? Because what you're doing is you're offering them a big choice. Don't matter if somebody likes chocolate or not. You'd be a bad bastard that wouldn't eat a fucking chocolate finger. Do you get me?
Yeah.
You don't.
Bad as in you. What if you're diabetic though?
But sure, look at it. I mean,
one finger never did anyone wrong.
I was fucking circling the fucking bowl, hoping you were going to jump into the middle of it. I kept on saying the finger reference, and I knew you.
Fuck it. I fell for the trap. I fell for the fucking comedy trap.
You fell straight for it. It was no, but what's beautiful it was low hanging fruit, and you didn't go for it early on. You just went.
Gotcha.
Sure, and out. That's proper comedy. So I'm
but
delighted.
You have to realize, Tom, ever since you said the word finger, I've been fighting.
I know. I can see your face.
You're fingered.
You're rubbing your chin. You're going.
Wait till he sees this one. But yeah.
So it needs to be something of that ilk. I think if you go down the USA assorted biscuits route, you're right. There's 2 trays. It's great to bring for our family. But you have to remember, these fingers are only going to last a show. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody's bringing home. There's none of them going home with anybody. Every fucker's going to dodge the digestive. Even the jammy dodger inside there's going to get looked over. The fucking bourbon's going to get looked over unless you have tea. Chalky fingers, you don't need tea with it. You could just grab it, fuck it in your mouth, and off you go. No crumbs, no none.
Yeah. It's a nice functional biscuit that does the job, and it gives you the sort of dopamine drop that you need from the old sweets. But also, it doesn't impede your speech too much because you get it eaten within a minute.
There you go. You just slip the finger right in.
Yeah. Slip it right in there, buddy. Well, I'll know what to bring them next time. What if you landed in with a quiche?
Oh, now you see, you're asking. I think you are the ultimate guest in a way. I'd love you landed in here with a quiche, or if you landed in with a box of USA assorted biscuits. I'd be fucking delighted because I'll make a plan for that quiche now. I'll eat a little segment and I'll have another little bit in a while. But these people are inside in the studio. They're just love yolks they can hoover into their mouth while in front of a desk. And I think a quiche is, for the want of a better phrase, pardon the pun, it's over-egging the pudding a small bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Saying, yeah.
And you don't want to come across too keen either. Do you know?
So don't go for like a team of people that like a carvery team that'll sort of like set up a carvery trough.
See, I knew this would happen. As soon as I mention it, you have to take it to another level and go, but Tom, why don't I bring my own catering company with me and we can make up fucking sandwiches / jambons and pastries on the side as they wait? No, you don't want to see, you want to keep them on the back foot a little bit.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be subservient to him. So I think the chalky fingers, they're saying he's considerate, but at the same time, he's a busy man because he definitely got them in the petrol station.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Mm.
There used to be a lad that came over. He'd come over to my uncle's house. He'd come over and he'd bring over like bags of sweets, and he'd bring over like he'd go into Super Value. And he'd go in and he'd buy like he'd get all the stuff that had the sticker on it. Like it'd be like chocolate bars and sweets and cakes. He'd land over to the house with the bag, and then about half an hour later, he'd be like, he'd be taking the food out of the bag himself, and he'd end up finishing the whole bag pretty much himself. So it looked like he was bringing over treats, but really they were just directed towards him, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a name for that somewhere. It's probably a racist fucking team thing or something. I definitely heard similar things to that, like, but yeah, they're rotten bastards. Like, there's these are the little cushy things you need to get under their skin, and I think I can't think of a better yolk than chalky fingers. They're just, and don't go fucking mix it up with bringing the white ones or the dark chocolate ones, because you'll get somebody who's got a fanal face on them because they don't like white chocolate or something. Keep it simple. Keep it, the KISS effect, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah,
simple as that.
That's a good. That's when you're like traveling to your neighbor's house for a cup of tea. Are you bringing sweets and biscuits with you, or are you just sort of the fella that just turns up and asks someone to stick on the kettle?
The crowd around here wouldn't be the greatest for that sort of stuff, but when I do call to friends' houses and stuff like that, I do make it a policy. And it's only that the wife has bet manners into me. That's all that is. She's bet manners into me because she's going, because I don't really expect anybody to rock up with it here, but when they do, it's a lovely surprise. So it's always nice to go, hey, you may get an extra cup of tea in return, who knows? But it is a nice touch, and I think not enough people are doing it anymore these days, because you used to have to turn up with a scone or something once upon a time, like, or buns.
Yeah, no, of course, and that was a nice thing because you're already breaking the back on the conversation. You're going in the door and you're sort of offering a bit of peace.
Yeah,
you know.
How'd you make them now? And you're off to the races then with a bun story. Do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're missing that. That's a good point, actually. I must get back into that because just randomly giving neighbours food.
Listen, the fucking cupboard here beside me is absolutely stocked to the rafters with bickies of various sorts, and they are not to be eaten. Them bickies, well, they're not really bickies. It's all old tins and stuff. They're all ready for Christmas and everything. Herself, and even just visiting times. There's tins of yolks there, visiting times that you can't go.
You have visitors' biscuits.
Oh, we have visitors' biscuits for when we go visiting. This will tell you how civilized I've gone on. You think I told you this. You think I'm going around the place in wellies the whole time, fucking kicking crows off windows and fucking giving out to fucking the sky. I've gone I haven't. I'm talking out me whole. I'm still a pig ignorant animal, but I have a very considerate wife of other people. And she does things like this, where she buys, Jesus, they're doing like that. USA assorted biscuits, or, you know, she's got a few of the fancy ones now that have been tapped into on some of them cowl dark nights. They've been tapped into. And I dread the day, because we do land onto somebody's house and they peel the restuck fucking sellotape off the side of it. And there's 2 or 3 of the chalky ones they're missing. Because, there'll be a fucking guilty head on me sitting over in the corner. But then we've started a new story. Tom has an addiction to chocolate biscuits. And that's at least the conversation was there. We brought something.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's hard. If I have chocolate sweets, you know, wine, beer, any of that stuff is in the house, it have to be on. It has to go. And it has to go quickly. And it doesn't matter. It's just like, seen on Bill Burr, he mentioned on one of his podcasts, someone is asking how he kind of quit the drink or give it up. He says, I just don't have it in the house. I don't have it in sight. So the best thing I think to do is for me anyways, I have to keep that stuff out of the house or else I'll polish it. Yeah,
I was talking to a chap the other day and we were mentioning something like that and he was going, yeah, but that's great, Tom. You live out the fucking country where you can't walk to...
Yeah.
He lives next door to an off-license.
Oh, stop.
And they're always doing specials. And they do him a twist. They more or less text him to say when there's a fucking, you know, a thing going on, like buy fucking 10 cans, get another 10 free. He's always wearing a Guinness jacket or a fucking...
Look at it. He's attracting it then. Like, if this lad is signed up to the off-license and he's wearing a Guinness jacket, he's looking for the drink. You know, the law of attraction. If you're walking around town with a Guinness jacket on you, chances are you like a couple of pints.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. And he was kind of bitch moaning and complaining of his situation. But at the same time, I had to go, well, you fucking moved there. Do you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I moved out the sticks to keep my eye away from all these things. Like, and
how do you find, Tom, the lack of like shops around you that, like, you know, the convenience of getting down to a shop?
I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. I've gotten over it very quickly. Like, the best thing I did was buy a deep freeze.
Yeah.
And I probably overshop when I do go do the big shop. But like, you know, you quickly realize, when you stay busy with this shit that we're doing and all the rest of it, you quickly realize, I don't need a bottle of Coke. It'll be grand. Now, tea consumption will go through the roof because, with addictive fucking personalities, you're going to do something. But as you said, if it's in the house, 'tis grand. 'Tis grand.
Mm-hmm. The tea is a great sort of quencher of the thirst, and I've been finding myself going into Aldi and Lidl there like a lot recently and just buying as much tea as I can get, just so when I am at home and I've got the craving on me just for a bit of a sup, I stick my hand into the teapot instead of the wine jar. I know. But one thing I will not take a backward step on. I'll chance the fucking the what would you call it? I suppose the thrifty brand of everything, from ketchup to fucking everything. I will not take a backward step on tea. I've always Barry's all my life, and I'll be Barry's till the day I die. It's a fucking. It's one of your Tetleys.
You told me about this Tetley stuff before. I remember I was telling you I was up in Leitrim one time and they forced it down my neck from a fella who worked for Tetleys in his past life, and he kept on telling me how proud he was that he worked for 40 years. I worked for Tetley, and I'm like, you fucking love this shit, don't you? Mm-hmm. And he may as well have spat into my mouth and then shoveled some gravel into a cup and put some hot water in on top of it. It was terrible stuff altogether. But no, I'll be Barry's forevermore. And you can get a good fucking strong cup of tea out of it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You need that, yeah.
It's the simple old things too, Owen, isn't it? The older you get, it's the simple old things, isn't it?
You know what it is, but then at the same time, like the simple things are the things that also annoy you. You're like, if you don't have tea in the house, or if the other day I had no coffee and Monday I was like, fuck, this is going to be like, I'm going to get nothing done. But you don't really need it as much as you think you do. But the tea, yeah, I think the simpler your life is, the better. If you have a couple of boxes of tea bags there, nice bit of porridge for the morning, a couple of like, bit of veg and a bit of pasta there for the dinner, you'd be grand. You can live well within your means.
That's it. Do you know what I did this week? I broke out and I'm after ourselves did it for me. I'm after getting a heap of comfortable socks. Half days.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here now on, and they're spanged out of the packet, the pair I'm wearing right now.
Ankle socks or long socks or what sort of layered?
I'm a boot sock man. They're wool. They're wool socks.
Wool. Now you're talking my language, yes.
Like, you just can't fucking beat them. Your feet can breathe in them the whole lot. I'm not a really ankle sock wearing man. Yeah. I need to feel a rise above my fucking Achilles tendon. I don't know why. But, that phenomenon, I don't know where that took off. They're the most infantile. I get why people wear the little socks that hide below your shoe.
Yeah. The only time I've ever wore them is when I've run out of socks and I've had to wear my mother's socks. Which is probably once a week if I'm deadly honest, but it's it just feels like someone's giving you a very soft handshake that's all wet. You get the whole way around it.
Get the whole way around it. Don't be fucking half pretending to be a sock.
Exactly, yeah. Do your job.
It's like the sock is just peeking slightly above the edge of the shoe going, oh, well, lads.
Yeah.
Do you know
it's
that?
Like, when you see a lad putting his hand into the pocket and he just has the finger in the pocket.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking use the lot. It's yours.
Move in to fuck. Come on.
Exactly. Shit in there. But like they don't like you saying those things to them on the bus.
Yeah, you have to pick your battle zone. We talked about this. Wait for all that stuff when you're on stage, because then you have an open license to fucking light up the front row if they're wearing ankle socks. Fully grown men. I was doing a bit about that, and I was until lockdown, and I'm kind of I don't know, can I go back to any of my own material, because it's like, well, the world has gone sideways, so maybe I'm never going to talk about this stuff again. But I remember I was just talking about the chaps who wear the phenomenon of the skinny jeans and how that has stayed around for longer. I thought skinny jean phenomenon was only going to last a year or two. Yeah. And then what seems to happen is that the bottom of the trouser seems to have migrated up the leg. Like, it's gone up as far as here now. Have you noticed that?
They're showing off their sort of ankles.
My thing was, why? Like, who's looking at men's ankles? Like, is it a new form of cleavage that we haven't found out about? Like that, my eyes are up here. Owen, don't be looking at my ankles.
Maybe, yeah.
Is it to attract women? Because I put it to the audience that night in the Laughter Lounge. Is there a single woman in here that's ever looked at a bloke and went, he's a bit of an ugly fucker, but have you seen the ankles on him? Whoa,
unreal girthy ankles.
Girthy ankles.
I don't know, actually. That's a good question, because I was actually wondering that. The way, like, you notice all the different trends that kind of come in, and that was definitely one of them. There's another few I was kind of looking at, and there was the nose piercing came back again. Well, like, like the bull nose, like that.
Oh, it has. Yes.
In the early 90s, I remember that being very popular in Mayo. But,
did you get any piercings?
I did. Oh, stop! Now that you remind me, I got a big fucking spike at the front of my mouth.
You did not.
I did, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was working in a deli in Galway, and I got a massive spike coming out below my bottom lip there, and it kept coming fucking loose. So I had to keep pushing it back in with my hand, and it's kind of like the skin apparently below your mouth is very quick healing. So if you left it for more than half an hour, the sort of the pipe wouldn't go through the piercing. So I had to keep it in there. But then I took it out during indoor soccer, and I had trouble getting it back in then since then. But I thought I was the bee's knees in Galway with a fucking spike coming out of me bottom lip. It was, I cringe thinking about it.
like you're like an inverted unicorn. Like you just got it wrong.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I went through the cool period as well. I think it was about 16 or 17. I got the eyebrow ring.
I think I seen a picture of you there. Like you look like a bull, and there's a picture of you with the eyebrow pierced, and you kind of look very angry. It's just like a headshot or something.
Yeah, that was from my passport photograph, Owen. I looked older. I looked older 15 years ago than I do now. I was a fucking tank going around the place.
You were
like,
jacked. What were you doing? Like, what were you up to those days?
playing rugby. But sure, I was in the gym 5 days of the week, and like we talked about the fucking Pro Max and the fucking Cyclones, and I was hoovering that stuff up. Like,
were you?
Oh man, I was going around with I had like a 17.5-inch neck. I had I had an attitude to match too, because I was working in a high paced fucking angry construction environment. So
just full of testosterone lads throwing blocks around the place, they're building jobs.
Yeah, literally. And I remember the day of that photograph, I was under savage pressure. We were all going off to, where were we going to? Amsterdam or some fucking thing, I think. And a couple of weeks later, and I needed my passport was after running out. So I bait down from the building site down to the Douglas shopping centre, stomped around the place looking for the fucking photo machine, because of course it should have been exactly where I thought it was. It wasn't. It was exactly where they thought it should be, in the middle of the shopping centre. And I remember it was like, smile for the camera. And I remember just looking at it going, like that face of ignorance. And that was on my passport for 10 years. Like, and even
I'm surprised it made it.
even up until the latter years of that passport, when my temperament had eased off and I'd shaved quite a bit of fucking mate off myself. I remember lads, I remember I was in Brussels and your man kind of going, huh? Looking back and forth at the passport, like, oh, like he thought I'd had a disease or something.
You gotta make me think. I wonder what the fuck did Michael Jackson do for his passport?
That's why he had to buy his own fucking plane shirt.
Because he couldn't get his hands on a proper passport.
It's a long way around it, but fuck it,
Yeah, maybe save money in the long term. Check it in and stuff.
But yeah, there's I don't know what we were even fucking talking about there, which is beautiful. None of the things we even thought we were going to talk about, how we bothered talking about. And I absolutely love that. We went off I was just lovely cozy on the carpet here with my feet going, aren't they lovely? I bet Owen will appreciate my lovely new socks.
No, I love socks. No, as you said, Tom, the small things are counts. I'm wearing slippers at the moment, and I used to be not a pajamas man. But I tell you one thing, you get up in the morning, you go out and have your coffee, you stay in your pajamas and your slippers, and you enjoy the coffee. That's your first little bit of a holiday for yourself. Ease into the day. It's a bit of foreplay with the morning. You
need to tell me more. I'm going to make some notes here, because I'd be an absolute adverse to fucking pajamas my whole life. Oh,
I was too. I never like. I used to always wear my jocks, just my jocks.
Yeah.
I didn't like pajamas on me. It's like, oh no, Jesus Christ, I'm too tough for these. I'm too tough to be cold. But then my missus got me a pair then for Christmas, and I don't know, maybe Ireland's getting colder over the years or whatever. We're getting more harsh winters, but I was cruising around one day in the house in Dublin, or the apartment, in a pair of slippers and a full pajamas suit, I would call it. It was top and bottoms. Oh. And I had a hat too, but I didn't bother wearing a hat. I thought that was really, it was like a purple hat. I was like, not a chance.
Was the hat like, what's his name? Like something out of a Dickens novel, like where it hangs down?
Yes.
Was it?
It was kind of, it was trying to be one of those, like it had a little bobbin on the top of it.
I just imagine you're coming down the stairs with a candle lit. Here, boy! And you flick a coin out the window. Get me 20 pence in hedges.
I wish it was that elegant, but no, it was just pajamas. But it was nice. And I remember thinking at the time, this is very cozy. This is like already being in bed. It's kind of like bringing the bed with you. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning, but maybe I'm doing it wrong, Tom. I could be wrong. Maybe you'll tell me it's better to just get dressed, put on your pants early in the morning, because I have found myself in my pajamas till 1:00 on certain days, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I think that's my fear. Do that's what I think you just tapped into something in my brain there, because I need to be mean to myself. I need to be nasty to myself, because again, it's the fucking beer in the house effect. If 'tis there, Tommy will treat himself and go, I deserve all these beers immediately in my face. But if they're not in the house, I can't fucking have them. I think if I started wearing pajamas, it could be I don't know. I'm open to
give it a go.
I'm open to it. And let's be honest, more than once, one time in a week, have I come down the stairs and the trap door is open and the mouse is out of the house, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And but no postman never needs to see that. Not twice in a week,
it's not fair.
No,
you're not getting paid enough.
Not getting paid enough to see that. I mean, you know, there's no talking around it. It's like, for sure, look, there's nothing you haven't seen before, like, you know, and you're going, I can't be exposing myself to the fucking postman. Like, so I think maybe you're right. I'll start maybe with the bottom half to make me feel like I'm fucking in Cobra Kai or something, you know, they're martial arts trousers. You know, maybe I might get the old black belt down out of the attic, tie it on, and walk around with a set of nunchucks over my shoulder just in the morning. But I take what you're saying, that maybe the comfort will last until 1 o'clock in the day. Yeah.
See, you can't, you don't, it's like anything, it's like the tea. You know, overindulgence will take you in the wrong direction. But if you can keep the pajamas, maybe Saturday or Sunday, treat yourself, keep them on till 1 or 2. But Monday to Friday, whenever you get up 7 or 8 or whatever time you get up, 9, I don't know, but get them off you. Get the jeans on, get the boots. Sometimes I actually wear steel toe cap boots around the house. I feel like I'm doing something.
I went stone mad. I'm after buying a new pair of steel toe cap boots as well with the fucking socks. But they're light out. To look at them now, they only look like hiking boots. But sure, I couldn't turn them down. They were 200 down to 51. I couldn't turn them down.
Where are you getting them for that? That's like a quarter of the price.
Yeah, forget Regatta.
Regatta seemed. I don't know if them boys are on the way out, but they're selling a lot of stuff for cheap.
They're busting out the doors with stuff.
Yeah.
All their stuff is getting made in Turkey, I'm guessing, like every other fella. But they're busting out the door with stuff. They have to get it gone. So they're selling it off nearly at cost. The socks, I think I only gave €1.50 for. And they're good owls, good fucking socks, like. So, again, I'm kind of going, do I treat myself now another bit? I've gotten these socks. Before I know it, I'll be going around like fucking Dickens, wrapped up. I'll be wearing a house coat. I'll be
getting manicures and pedicures and fucking getting your butthole bleached.
Getting my butthole bleached.
Oh Christ!
Jesus Christ Almighty! Whatever about somebody going, "Jeez, I wouldn't mind getting my butthole bleached." That's each to their own, and that's once in a blue moon. But does the fella or the woman who says, "Do you know what I want to do for a living? I'm going to start fucking domesticing people's holes." Like,
yeah, I'd say so. I'd say they have other things on the go as well. They'd want to, like, I don't know. Can you specify on that? Like, I don't know. Is there like a
surely
course?
You'd have to do some sort of course. You couldn't just go, "I'm here for the job." What job? I'm setting up I want to be your arsehole bleacher.
Do you reckon like there's a FOSS program like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off?
There has to be. Like, and who do you test on? Do you know? I remember I used to get the haircut for half nothing.
Cousins. I don't get the question. I know, I'm only kidding. I don't actually know what that means, and even looking back, I'm like, that sounds weird. But
I'm not fully sure either. Like, but who do you like? Do you know? I used to get the haircut for half nothing years ago. Yeah. When they'd be a new blast of hairdressers would be needing to get scissors time, we'll say. And
time on the scissors,
time on the trigger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'd have a poster up in Peter Marks, and I figured, sure, it can't be too fucking bad, because the boss woman is standing over him, like and how bad can it be? I'm sure they have a set of clippers that can shave it all off if it goes to shit. And the haircuts weren't the greatest, but they were for nothing, and you get tea inside, and everybody was asking you nice things like where you're going holidays and stuff. But my question continues. You can't just dip in and charge somebody when you've never bleached a hole before in your life, Owen.
Yeah.
Look at the box you've opened up here now. We were never going to talk about bleaching buttholes. Well,
people are doing it, like, and I did see that. I don't think pennies are doing it just yet, but
Jesus Christ.
Doing it, you know that plucking on the eyebrows with the strings. Did you ever see that? No.
I must have seen that. I swear to God, 10 years ago on a TV show, a travel program I was watching. There was a lad in India or a woman in India whipping about. And I remember thinking, going, "Earth for the love of fuck, should we tweezers for the last 1,000 years? What's the woman doing?" Like,
yeah,
it's big now, is it?
It's huge in pennies. Like sometimes if you walk into the wrong department in pennies, you'll stumble across a sort of an oasis of people getting their eyebrows. I don't know. They're doing something with 2 wires or 2 strings, and it's kind of like a very highly skilled way of plucking your eyebrows. It seems.
I have an idea for a live show. Not even a live show, but a little vlog the two of us should do. We should go to beauticians.
Oh, yeah.
We should get this done.
We should do a podcast in the beauticians.
Yeah. Have you ever had any? Because we have a gang of friends. Like, I used to hang out with a gang of fucking animals back when I had that massive head that you saw on that fucking passport photograph, and the dares would be, they were fucked up, like. And I had to go in and get I had to get my chest waxed one day. 2 of the boys stood in there over me as the woman waxed my chest. Well, by fucking Jesus Christ, it felt like she was pulling hairs out of my great grandfather. Oh my God, were they deep rooted? I fucking hell tonight. I was like your pores bleed and everything from it, like.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
Oh,
what is it, waxing?
Waxing, yeah, waxing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that now, Tom. I don't think I do. I don't have a hairy chest, anyways. But there's
a few sprigs there we can fucking get.
There's a few sprigs trying to make a name for themselves, but that's about it. But no, I never shave the chest now. But people, it's a big thing, I suppose. You know, it depends on your own out preference. But yeah, I'd say like people are getting all kinds of body. Is that called body? I don't know what the word is. It's like body transformations, I suppose.
Yeah, and as the fucking, what do they call it? Manscaping, when men get it done, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Now I have heard from quite a few women that it's nice to get a manicure and a pedicure, like get the feet done as well. So you'd never know. Maybe next time we should do one for the crack.
It was said to me one time. I don't know, was it Geddes said it to me, that himself and Bartlett went off and got their toes nibbled by fish, and he said it to me in the same way. I don't know, is how liberal they are in Belfast. I didn't think they were that fucking liberal, but clearly the boys are. But they just came out. He just came out and said it. We got the old feet nibbled today with the fish. And just threw that away and moved on to the next thing, as if he was talking about that they went up the road for a burger.
I'd say I'd say the 2 boys get up to all kinds of stuff because they look like they're fairly rowdy.
Yeah. Oh, they would, yeah. So it turns out, and they do it in Stephen's Green in Dublin, where there's like a little fucking paddling pool, and it's full of fish, tiny fish. Mm-hmm. And you stick your feet into it. And apparently these fish go to town on it like little fucking angle grinders. And they nibble away, handy out, not in a painful way. They nibble away all the dead skin off your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 1, I'd imagine it's tickly. But 2, what's fucking annoying me is like, those fish are not trying to just do you a favour. If any one of them fish was big enough to eat the foot off you, they're a gang of little bad-minded cunts inside in that pool, Owen. Yeah. And I wouldn't do them the justice of giving them my fucking foot skin.
So you don't think that they deserve the skin on your feet?
Fuck them. They're trying to eat me. Trying to eat me. A hen would fucking eat you too if you'd stand still for long enough and if she had teeth.
Oh yeah, but like why you said that? But then again, we'd eat hens and we'd eat the fish, so we're just as bad as them.
Do you know what? You make a valid point, and you've leveled everything right back up. End of debate. Debate. Thanks very much. TED Talk over. Thank you.
But I know what you mean, though. It must be funny that they're eating the scabs off the feet, so to speak. But they must have little for fucking eating if they're eating that kind of stuff.
They couldn't starve. There's nothing else inside in the pool with them, only each other. Yeah. So I suppose if you left it long enough, they'd go around eating each other. But I don't know what you feed them in between to keep them, like if you have a lion, the only thing you can fuck at it is raw meat to keep it thinking, what is it they're flicking in to where are they getting dry, dead toe skin in the off season for these fish? Like,
I'm sure you can get plenty of that stuff on the dark web anyway. No doubt at all. I never did it though. It's a certain type of fish, is it?
I assume so. They have to have little teeth of some sort anyway, don't they? They can't be just flapping their gums at you.
One time before I was in Poznan, and there was this place, a friend of mine said, I went down the road there last night and I got myself a lovely massage. And I was like, all right.
What was your first thoughts? What was your first thoughts when he said that?
My first thought was like, yeah, did you blow the beans? That's what I was thinking.
Because as you said it, I went, yeah, definitely he got either a happy ending or it was a massage parlour and it wasn't a massage parlour at all.
Well, I still couldn't figure out because I kept saying to him, I was like, did you score top corner, so to speak? He was smiling at me, but he kept going, no. But I was like, I couldn't figure out if he was lying to me or not, and I must have asked him 5 or 6 times. So the next day, I accidentally walked back down to the place that he got the massage.
You did, by accident.
Yeah. But they had a menu in, and it was all like Polish, so I didn't really know what I was getting. But there was other people. I don't think they had the fish in the sort of the little pool for their feet, but there was other women, and they were kind of all getting their feet kind of done, and they were getting their hands done. But I just ended up getting a massage. But it actually wasn't. It was just like a regular massage.
Fair enough. I the worst massage I actually ever got was in not far from Foxford. It was in a hotel there we were staying in, and we both thought to be absolutely lovely if we got massages. Lord, I don't know what to describe it as, because I'd gotten massages in the past, like, and I was going right root into it there, girl. And all she kind of did, just like she wasn't digging into the muscle at all. Just like she'd put a load of fucking glass on her fingers or something, just started jabbing my skin. I came away going, this has been the most uncomfortable fucking half an hour of my life. And it wasn't even an offer of a hand. I suppose I was on my honeymoon too. It wasn't probably appropriate to offer a fucking happy ending.
Did you go your honeymoon to the west of Ireland?
We did, yeah. Oh, I was sick to that whole year. I'd been in 7 or 8 different countries, and I was fucked if I was queuing up in another airport. I just saw it as being a total anticlimax. You know, hey, great times. Oh, you'd have great times over there, but would you mind arsing around with a bunch of sweaty fucking fat Americans, in an airport for 2 or 3? I wasn't ready for it. So I said to herself, I said, do you mind if we just fuck off out to the west of Ireland? She went, I love the west of Ireland. Yeah. And off we went, and we had a great fucking week of it. Mighty. We drove through. That was the hilarious thing. We drove through. You had mentioned to me about, would I be up for if I was needed to jump into the I think it was the final season of the Hardy Box. And I went, yeah, absolutely, give me a shout if needs be. And just by pure fluke, we drove through Swinford, and you were filming on the street.
Right.
Yeah. So
why didn't you jump in? You should have come in and got stuck in.
There was a moment, I didn't see you now. I wouldn't have known the other boy, so I didn't actually physically see you on the street. And had I nearly would have stopped up. Yeah. But then I did look at my new wife and went, I probably shouldn't be working really, like, and I had an awful go on me for a pint too at the same time. And when we got over to where we were going, it was fucking lovely when I got there, like, but
yeah. But we would have accepted you in that. In fact, that's kind of how half of us got started in the Hardy Books, just by being in the town at the time of filming. Not the hardest audition process, but you know what? It was a very sort of like all welcoming. Everybody was welcome.
Yeah, I would imagine it would have been. I would have to. Well, I suppose I'd have to lie and say that I was Buzz's cousin from down south in Tipperary somewhere. They go, yeah. How come we don't sound like any of us, Tom? Although McGahern still spoke with his Cavan accent, all right. So I suppose he got away with it.
In the Hardy Books, sometimes we dropped the ball slightly by trying to get people to do Mayo accents when they weren't from Mayo, and they probably. Well, I think everyone should, like McGahern, he did Simcard's accent, but it was more like, it was kind of Cavan. He stuck to the Cavan accent.
I did, yeah.
But I thought that was good.
I think sometimes we can, unless you're from an extreme place like Cork or Kerry or Limerick City, when you talk, unless you're from an extreme place. But if you're from the likes of Tip, Kilkenny, maybe parts of Carlow and the Midlands, like Portlaoise and stuff, you can kind of get away with, like, for the most part. And that was John Cleary. I was talking with him. He was fucking bulling over that show, Normal People, because he was saying his issue, what it wasn't the acting, the story, anything. It was the fact that it was set in Sligo, and there wasn't any fucker from Sligo in it, or it even attempted. He said they all had Kildare accents. They were all saying things like, "Oh, sure, we're good. We're from Sligo." You're like,
right.
What? No, you're not. But I think for the greater public, i.e., the Dublin audience, which is the greatest, it's the greatest audience, in that they have a million and a half people in the greater Dublin area. There's a pan-culture accent that they go, "Era,"
You mean like a generic sort of Americans when they think about Irish accents? It's like,
yeah.
How are you doing?
Or if we do, because of course every American thinks we sound like Conor McGregor now. Or if we do what we call a Polish accent, I can guarantee you no Polish fella's ever said it, but, "Oh my actual God, you do a brilliant fucking..."
Yeah. No, never. I've never got that from a Polish person ever.
It's a pan-Eastern European. If you can roll your R's ever so slightly, it will be fine. You're Russian / Slovakian / over there.
Do you reckon that the people from Mayo have a strong accent? Because I don't think we do at all. I've never heard it.
No, I don't think it's a strong accent. But then I've always loved accents, so I think I have an ear for accents. That kind of way. So I do definitely hear it. Like I find it funny how ye quite often will speed up the consonant preceding the final vowel. Like I would say Mayo, but you'll hit that Y and go, "Fuck, I need that Y out of the way and I need to get to the O," and it comes Mayo.
Right. I never knew that. That's a good one.
And the O gets all the praise. You know what I mean? The O gets all the praise in it.
He taps the ball in at the end there.
This is it. He was only fucking wandering around outside the goals, and it actually bounced off his back and flew into the top corner.
Proper Niall Quinn fucking letter.
When N, A, and Y had been horsing it through the fucking ranks up the field.
No, I get you. Yeah, geez, that's crazy because you don't really hear your own accent, but I definitely hear Cork, Limerick, Dublin, obviously, and then Tipperary. I don't think the accent out that way, or Kilkenny, it's not awfully strong. I never really found it that strong.
It does. There's certain parts, all right, where it's kind of leaning into something. Like when you go up north tip, you get very flat. So they get real flat like that. It gets a bit where they fuck the end. If there's a T on the end of your word that you're hoping for, you may say goodbye. You may say goodbye to it, or it's even it can be in the middle of it, like the word sophisticated.
Sophisticated.
It will never sound sophisticated in a Midlands accent. Never.
Right, gotcha. Yeah. The best accent of all is the Kerry accent. I love it.
Oh, it's just
I just want to move in with them,
and you get, and when they start struggling with the words, then and one of the Healy Rays then starts talking about I'm above in New York and I'm there and I'm talking about the weather and God Almighty came down, and you're like, are you a fucking carrot like that?
Yeah.
Because I've asked friends from Kerry who are from like Cahersiveen and stuff, which would be south, like next stop is fucking Valentia Island and then Boston, like.
Yeah.
And they've went, the fuckers are hamming it up. They're hamming it up. They're playing the character. All those Healy Rays, they're playing it heavy because they're sophisticated, smart fucking businessmen. They know the character. And if it's almost like if I play a bit of a dum-dum for long enough, I get what I fucking need, because you'll go, he's grand, and draw your eye somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you come in too much of a slick Mick, they'll sound you out and go, I better check him out. But if you're going, God gave us rain and shall look it, isn't that fine? They're going, he's rant, he's mental, and I'm going to work away over here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I like it. Yeah. That's a good Kerry accent, actually. You have it down.
Well, it's the Healy Rays, I think, are their own accent. They're their own thing. Like you go like into West Cork. I think I was telling you before, I worked on we were doing a building job on a pub. And I don't know what that meant. Like, we were there a month, and I don't know a single thing that man said. I don't know. All I understood was the word cider. This is the owner of the pub. Mm-hmm. He'd come in the morning, and quite literally just sounded like somebody started, the small little generators that work at the back of a chippy van.
Yeah, I know them well. They've supported me in Mayo.
And it's not an annoying sound, but what it is continuous.
Yeah.
Low, and that was him. And he'd come up the fucking corridor, and all he wanted, because he was he was a milkman as well, and he started work at 3:30 in the morning, right? He'd have only shut the pub and fucked them all out at about 1 o'clock. It's a country pub, like, and he'd get the head down for an hour, and he'd be back up again and out on the milk float, and he'd deliver milk back in, and he opened the bar at 8 o'clock in the morning. There was no, because he two or three different sets of customers throughout the day. He had these early morning booze hound owl fellas who'd sup away till lunchtime. Then he'd the lunchtime people that had come in for a couple, and then he'd have the evening people. And this fella operated for all of them. And first thing in the morning, he'd come down and he couldn't work out why any of us didn't want a bottle of cider. That's what I worked out.
Wow.
I don't know about this. What was it? A bottle of cider, oh? And I went, bottle of cider? It's fucking 10 to 8, lad. Do you know? But still, there was something very unthreatening about that accent. I don't know what it was like. It was like...
Yeah, I think it kind of is poetic in its country style of it too, though. Like, you know, you do, if you hear it from afar, it's kind of like whatever they're saying sounds like they've got a good story to tell you.
Yeah. Well, it's the melody of an accent, isn't it? Like, you know, a very flat story coming at you there on. And I went down to town, and would you believe it? I'm after getting a lotto ticket, and I won £1 million. I'm going to split it halfway with you on. You're going, is this a good story or a bad story? I don't know. Do I come out? You know, because, but if
where's that, Wexford? Is it?
It's that kind of east, you know, where people say things like, "Where good?" Oh, sure, just good. You know,
I knew a lad before in Galway, and he's like a friend of a friend, but he had one of those accents. And I couldn't pinpoint the accent at all. I was like, where is that accent from at all? But then I got down to Wexford and Wicklow. And they have a very distinctive accent down that way too.
They do, yeah, they do. It's actually, I've talked about this before to people that, it was Cleary I was talking about, he's a freak for accents, Cleary is. Like because he can do them so well, and he can pinpoint things in accents. We've had long 2-hour chats about just one accent and where it goes. And I'd love to know more about, I'd love to do something like anthropology as to why people sound how they sound. Like, you know, I think we sound so differently around this very small country because we were all warring tribes for so long. I think, I'm guessing, because even Damo Clark, the comedian, he was like, I couldn't fucking work it out when I moved here. He says, I could go from one side of Australia to the other side. I'd go, g'day, all right. Drive 1,000,000 miles to the other side of Australia, g'day, and it's the exact same. He says, here, you go 5 miles up the fucking road, and everybody sounds absolutely different than the last fella.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Yeah, I don't get it at all, but yeah, it's maybe tribalism or something like that, but it's certainly even different villages in Mayo. Well, like, I don't really notice the accent, but I definitely notice, I suppose that's the same thing, but the pronunciation of the words or whatever, or different inflections on different parts of the sentence. Some of it sounds very sort of like a song almost.
Well, I think the Cork one is somebody now. This, I don't know how true this is because I'm not a historian or anything, but apparently the Cork one is a bit like how it is because of the trade routes with Bristol.
All right.
And in Bristol, they talk like that, you know, and it's like, well, I have a podcast and I love it, and it's singy-songy, and Wales as well, who would be, well, of course, I'm Welsh, you know, it's very up and down, and it's in and out all the time, isn't it? And they had a trade route around to Cork, and I only say this because the Cork one is so fucking different. It's so singy-songy, you know, but there's parts of Wicklow that myself and Cleary worked out that are on the same, if you can lay them over each other, the Donegal accent and would you believe the Wicklow accent, if you can lay them over each other, take out the actual vowels and consonants, but it's the
yeah, gotcha. It'd be interesting to study an old graph to see how high up the points, you know, the audio tones go.
Well, I don't know enough about sound engineering. And I'd love to get somebody who actually knew about it to see, could we? I mean, I was talking with a chap the other day, and he was saying a friend of his. Was it a friend of his? No, it was Mickey Bartlett was telling me about a comedian mate of his, who's a very good friend of his, is a composer.
Mm-hmm.
And over a 6-month period, he kept recording his farts, man's farts.
Wow.
But he did some epic tune, like the Star Wars tune or something, using fart tones.
Lovely. Talk about turning the old farts into a positive. Nice work.
Nice work.
Tom, I've got to head off in 10 minutes and just to eat this,
Yeah, of course. Will we go into the shoot through the old questions, Owen?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Great stuff. I'll chuck them up in front of you there. 1 second now. So, for the audio listeners, of course, well, this is pretty much everybody. First question up is, now I know we got another one. Jesus Christ. I'll find it somewhere, and I actually did want to ask you about it. But this one anyway came in from a chap. It came in from Andrew Lynch. What do you lads make of Charlie Zelenoff? Cunt? Does he need psychiatric help, or is he just a sledgehammer to the knees? That's it's extreme. I didn't know about this fella at all. I'd seen the news article and I just thought it was some randomer. Turns out you know who this fella is.
Well, he's a hard dude that comes into people's gyms, and I think he tries to bully the main. He just turns up to random gyms and he says to some lads, "Do you want to go sparring?" And the lads that are in the gyms normally go, yeah, we can go sparring. And as they're putting on the gloves, he starts swinging. And he kind of tries to catch people off guard a lot. But didn't he go into a few different gyms, the wrong gyms? He went into Deontay Wilder's gym, I think, and he got battered by him. He got battered to bits by Deontay.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, say no more. I assume he probably does need psychiatric help, but he definitely sounds like a cunt.
He is, yeah. He definitely is. He seems like he's a bit of a fucking pain in the hole. Like, he kind of preys on weaker people, but he gets hammered a few times online there. But I don't know. I think he's just a troll.
He's the ultimate troll. But at the same time, would you stand for YouTube fucking views? Would you stand in front of fucking Deontay Wilder? Would I in my whole...
No. But look at Steve-O. Like, didn't he get knocked out by Tyson once or something like that? Or like, the Jackass boys or Dirty Sanchez. Like, people will do anything to get the name out there.
Oh, fuck it, lad. No thanks. So, yeah, a cunt that needs psychiatric help, I would say, Andrew. That's, yeah. All right, let's have a look at the next one. So, how many live gigs do you both reckon you've done? Do you estimate? I think.
Well, Tom, I'd say you be a lot higher than me, but I've been total for me maybe 300, 200 maybe or something.
Yeah, I'd say it's into the thousands for me. I genuinely I couldn't put it there. It'd be like over a 10-year period. Yeah, 10-year period. Fucking some years there was 250 gigs, 300 gigs.
Wow.
Yeah, other years maybe as the gigs got bigger, I suppose the numbers of them got smaller. We're into maybe 100 and odd. But yeah, I honest to God, Rob Conway, not a fucking notion really. There's been a lot, and there's a lot that I probably want to forget about too. So
it's part of the journey. But I'd say, Tom, if I was to guess what you've done, and I don't really know, but probably 8,000 or 9,000.
No.
Crazy when you think about it. No, not that many.
No, I wouldn't have done that many. Many. No. No, I wouldn't have done.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you were quite strong on that one. I would over a 10-year period.
Jump the gun as well. Yeah.
10 years. Would say, look, let's say I average 200 gigs, because like there was times when I did 60 gigs in a month. Let's say I did 250 gigs on average a year, 2,500 gigs over a 10-year period. How's that? There we go. So Davey Witt says, who would win in a scrap, Bosco or Kermit the Frog? I mean,
you got to go for Bosco, don't you?
Yeah, I gotta go for Bosco because number one, he's from Dublin.
Local lad, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's as you'd say yourself, he's fucking stocky, He's
got a nice set of shoulders on him, in fairness, for a puppet. But I'd say he'd box the jaw clean off Kermit. Do a number on him.
Kermit would have the range, you know what I mean? And you
would, yeah.
And you can never really write off those lightweights or those straw weights. But at the same time, there's something about Bosco, stocky back on the fucker. You know, he's no problem dragging people into deep waters. He lives in a box, for fuck's sake, you know?
I mean, it's designed like a ring. So, yeah, we'll go for Bosco on that one.
Great. All right. Karen Burke, do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Larry David gives 0 fucks. I love Larry David.
He's a genius. Yeah, he's near the top of the ladder. Big shout out to Karen Burke, by the way. She's doing some running for her sister who's a bit sick at the moment. So,
shout out, Karen. I fucking love that show. I think I talked to the last day. I was telling you about how I watched the program, how fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm saved the guy's life. Was I telling you that, how the guy had been...
Oh, no.
This guy had been stitched up, this Mexican-American chap had been stitched up for this crime that he didn't do. They were saying he murdered a girl. And they were saying, he was saying, I wasn't even there. I was at a baseball match. And the camera footage was not good enough. It was old, it was on a tape, it was that. And by pure fluke, so they were going, Ash, that could be any Mexican lad. That camera's from 100 yards away. I said, I fucking wasn't there. They were locking him up. Turns out by pure fluke, the solicitor found out they were filming Curb Your Enthusiasm that day, and Larry David walked right by him.
Wow.
And on their high quality close-up cameras, there was my bio eating a packet of crisps or something with his daughter. Got him off the crime.
Oh, no way. So
yeah.
He got saved.
He got saved. Yeah. So, yes, love it. You're right, Karen, and I would watch it again. There's the likes of that, the likes of Trailer Park Boys, fucking love it.
Some of the best, yeah. I'd say Larry David must be probably, well, that show Curb Your Enthusiasm, I'd say it's probably top 5 comedy shows ever made.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Past guest on another comedian, Connor Drum. I know he made it friendly, and I think he opened for one of, I can't remember the name of the guy's real name. He's a stand-up comedian. He's in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he was doing a week of shows in London. His girlfriend was opening for him. His girlfriend's quite a successful comedian, and somebody had dropped out and went, hey, my boyfriend's a really good comedian. He went, great, he can do Tuesday night. So, and he made friends with him, and he said, next time you're over in LA, come visit me. And lo and behold, didn't he get him in on the show?
Wow.
Yeah, he got him in. Yeah, class.
What a nice person.
Oh, he said he'd put you up and everything. He was too nice. It was ridiculous. He followed through on everything he said he would, like, you know.
Fucking bastard.
I know. Don't you hate those fucking lovely bastards? Yeah. So, Adrian Shanahan, long-time listener, cancel culture. Cancel culture. Jesus Christ, I can barely say it. And the meltdown of the Irish comedy scene. Thoughts? I don't, like... For one, the Irish comedy scene is non-existent at the moment, Adrian. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah,
it's fellas like myself and Owen talking to each other in the dark across the internet. That's what the fucking comedy scene is right now. And a lot of people listening to this won't have a fucking clue what we're talking about. There has been a bit of an explosion at the minute of scandal and people that were being bastards and are being called out for it. I don't know. Owen isn't on Twitter. I barely use it. How I use Twitter is I have it linked to my Instagram account and it's linked to my Facebook account. So typically if I put something up on Instagram, it goes to all 3 places. So the only time I had a run-in with a pylon, basically, of these people was the bicycle about talking about bicycles and cyclists all fucking launched on me. I found it hilarious. But again, I wasn't back on Twitter for a week. It's a place where a lot of fire seem to go on. And like... The cancel culture, have you heard of cancel culture, Owen?
You mean like stuff like Kevin Hart kind of getting pulled for saying something 10 years ago? That kind of thing?
I assume so. I assume it's that. And trying to end your career via Twitter, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't really look into it too much because it's kind of, I don't know enough about it, I suppose. But like, does that mean that Kevin Hart, I know he didn't get to present the award ceremony, but does that mean now that Would he lose loads of deals out of that because of what he said 10 years ago, or? I
don't know. I suppose, yeah. I mean, saying something is one thing, but doing something is another thing. And you have to take a pinch of salt with what a professional stand-up comedian says, I guess, in that context. Who knows? Yeah, I suppose that is a form of cancel. He probably did cancel culture, I guess, is what it means. I'm not au fait on this fucking stuff. So the meltdown of Irish comedy, it ain't going to melt down. People are going to want stand up like motherfuckers. Green shoots will come from this. From what I've heard, the rumors I've heard. Again, we're all in lockdown. It's not like we're hanging out to actually hear about this stuff. And a couple of people have been cunts. And while I don't fully agree with trial by Twitter because it's too frivolous, if something has to be said, it's well worth saying. And those people should be outed and fucked out of it. But a meltdown, the jokes ain't going to go away. The good quality people and in comedy ain't going to go away, which is the vast fucking majority, you know.
Of course, yeah.
I feel bad for anybody who has suffered as a direct result of anybody acting the cunt and being a cunt. Those people need to be fucking run out of town, Owen.
Yeah, 100%.
So really, that's the highly uneducated view myself and Owen have on the cancel culture and the idea of it on fucking Twitter. Nothing else really to say. We like being funny. How's that? And we're going to stay concentrating on that.
Yeah.
God, I can't wait till we can do live shows, Owen.
Looking forward to it, Tom. It's going to be good when we can get out there. But hopefully they're going to, like, are people allowed to perform
Not
to rooms at the moment?
No. It's the arts. They're giving 20 million to the arts. I could name one theatre that could do with that right now. So to the arts is going to be the broadest shit you're ever, you know. But hey, what can they do if they don't have it in the can? They don't have it in the can. What?
Someone made a good point though, because I think it was some survey they did, or it was some country. It could have been India now, but I'm not sure. But they were saying like what countries are going to get, like what industries are going to get the most money taken away from them. And I think arts was up there as one of the highest that's going to get sort of lose out because of the pandemic. And people kind of forget that during the lockdown, like the amount of entertainment that you consumed, or music that you listened to, or movies that you watched, whatever, you know, people kind of often overlook the arts, I think, a small bit.
It does, yeah, and that's a great point. Is that, and I had an actor on there a couple of weeks ago, Tom Moran, and he said the exact same thing. You know, he's in Coppers the Musical and stuff. He says, "Man, if you watch telly, you like
Coppers
telly."
the Musical.
Yeah.
Brilliant, love it. That sounds like a good crack.
He said it. He goes, if you like telly, and everybody likes telly, then, you know, fucking, you're fucked if you're not going to support the arts, because people ain't going to be able to work on it, you know. Speaking of telly, and this is I'm going to crowbar this in because you won't mention it because you're the world's worst at promoting yourself. This is going out on the 20. We're recording this on the night of the 25th / we've gone into 12:30. It's actually the 26th. Owen's show was on last night and it will be on again. And it's actually on the big telly. It's actually on the big telly.
My parents are now really proud of me again. They've come back to being proud of me. So I don't know. It's on RT, yeah.
That fleshlight scene from the Hardy Bucks movie has been washed from their memory because Owen's own show is on the telly at the minute.
Yeah, but I'm sure that people will not be forgetting that moment easily because it's quite graphic. But no, it's back on the TV now. It's only short 10 or 15 minute slots, but give it a check if you get a chance. It's called Owen Colgan Around the Fire.
There you go. You're going to enjoy it. Last question goes to a mutual, very good friend, John.
Big shout out to John.
John, son of the knife, Sharpson. That's where he reckons his family name comes from.
Wow.
Son of the knife. That's pretty badass. I think he said his grandfather actually is Greek and he fucking made it up to dodge tax.
Love it.
But it's pretty good. John, of course. John's one of the only hurling Dublin people I know who prefers hurling over football. So what's the best reason someone has started on you on a night out?
Or when I took their chips, maybe. And they were like, you know, when you get to the end of the chips and the last few they're the most burnt and the tastiest.
Oh, the crispy ones. I do like the arse of the bag.
Yeah. He was right, like.
Yeah, especially when you have a bit of a goo on you, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you just hoover that shit up. But probably got in a... Or, you know, like I lived in Galway for a few years as well, so probably got in a few scuffles over stuff like that. Or... What was the fight? What was the question exactly? When was it like? What was the city's reason to get called out for a fight?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh God, I suppose probably something that's happened in Supermax over the years in Ayr Square in Galway, where like you'd be in chatting till at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be half steamed and half kind of trying to cause a bit of trouble.
I just has come to me because I was along the same lines of stupid out shit inside in the fucking Chinese or the chipper or whatever, sauced up drunk. But the weirdest time somebody's ever started on me was, and the story came out. I don't know how I calmed it down, even though I had a few drinks on it myself. The story fully came. I sat the whole situation down, and we talked it out. And this is how I found out. I was inside in it's a long-running old Chinese takeaway in Dublin called Charlie's. They have a few of them around the place. It's pure muck. You would not feed it into fucking pigs, right? But when you have a feed of sauce on you, it turns into Michelin star, fucking get in my veins, MSG loaded pisshead food, right? And what had happened was this girl was eyeballing me, not because she fancied me, but because she couldn't work out, right? Wait till you hear this. And I think I met the fella, or maybe I didn't. A fella had dressed up as the character I played on Damon Ivor, and she had scored him while dating your man. Now, they were properly going out as a couple, and he still had a grievance over that. So your man came over and started squaring up to me inside, and I'm queuing up for me fucking 3-1. And this cunt, hi. And he couldn't tell me why. I said, what? And she comes over, starts fucking screaming the house down, dragging him off. I was like, there's a situation over nothing. So I went over and I said, well, we need to relax. What is actually the problem here? And they told me the whole fucking thing. It was like, what the fuck? So why was I going to get a fucking dig in the head? And your man was like, I don't know.
He just got completely blocked by the drink.
Blocked by the drink and the fury and the jealousy over that previous guy. I said, did he actually even look like me? Because he'd highlighted his hair for the thing. But no, he didn't really look like you. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I said, what a strange thing to dress up for as Halloween anyway, like to dress up as a character. But I'm sure there's other ones, but I was probably steaming myself. I wish I could fucking remember. That's the irony of that question, John, is that you'll probably get started on by a drunk person, but you are most likely very, very drunk yourself.
So it kind of goes over your head completely. You don't even know why. Oh, there's been plenty of time in the past where you'd argue with a friend on a night out, and then, you know, like 2 or 3 hours later, or even the next day, you're like, I haven't a fucking clue what that was about. Let's just dodge it completely.
That's the handy thing about blokes. You can often both look at each other and go,
sorry about that, and then move on. Or
even you both know that there was no... Yeah, like, a mate of mine cracked me right in the fucking head one night with a punch. Because I was just annoying the shit out of him about something. Mm-hmm. I think I wanted to go somewhere else, and he wanted to go somewhere else for chips. And it wasn't a hard slap. Like, I didn't go down. But it was good. It was like it was in the forehead. It was a strange place to punch me. But I remember in that moment quickly recounting how annoying I'd been for the previous 3 minutes and went, valid.
Yeah.
Valid. And he was like, but he kind of looked at me like, and I went, don't even worry about it. I get it. We'll move on. It was a beautiful blokey moment, like.
Yeah, just water under the bridge.
Therein wraps up all the questions, and I think therein wraps up our 11th episode on.
Beautiful stuff, Tom. Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a few live ones on the road.
We definitely will. There's definitely, I had a couple interest from a couple of venues already. You're like, we can work this out some way. I said, we will. If we have to do it inside in a fucking plexiglass box while everybody wears hazmat suits, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. So that has been Harden Up Podcast. Thank you very much from Owen Colgan.
Thank you very much from Tom O'Mahony.
Don't forget to rate, subscribe, tell your friends about it, slip it into your mammy's knickers, whatever you have to do to get it out there, lads. Do it. Why did I say mammy's knickers? I wish I didn't say that.
Daddy's knickers. Is that better?
No, that gets even creepier then.
Yeah, it does actually, now that I've said that, yeah.
Just maybe give it to your mother inside the bottom tray of a USA assorted biscuit tin. How's call back and everything from earlier in the podcast. Thanks very much for listening. Till we see you again. Good luck at things.
Bye-bye.